Hey there, Torrance. Welcome to a very special edition of the Sports Desk, as we're going to celebrate the beginning of one new year by celebrating the end of another. Join me today as we take a look back on everything that made the 2013 South Bay sports scene so great. Not the games, not the highlights, but the people. We're going to start 2014 by tipping our caps to the best of the best who strapped up on game day, the coaches that inspire them to get out on the field, and of course, the fans who stick by them through thick and thin, no matter what. Happy holidays, Torrance, and Happy New Year. The Sports Desk starts right now. So we said we were going to celebrate all the characters that made up Torrance's sports scene in 2013, and we figure what better way to do that than to celebrate from the place that has more character, more memories than anywhere else in Torrance. Of course, I'm talking about Murdoch Stadium. The field's a little beat up now, but some would just say, hey, that just adds more character. Hollywood's been here to film, the Beach Boys have packed the house, and through all of that, if there's one man who will forever be tied to this historic venue more than anything else, it's the guy who asked to have his ashes buried right here under the 50-yard line.
When one thinks of El Camino College athletics, the first thing that often comes to mind is the Warriors' incredible football program and the man behind the rich tradition, Coach John Featherstone. Coach Feather, as he's fondly known, has spent the last 27 years at the helm of the Warriors program and led the team to a national championship and many conference and state titles, while sending hundreds of players to top Division I programs and even beyond to the NFL. At El Camino, Featherstone has clearly built a football legacy, although perhaps more importantly, he's had a big impact on the lives of many young men.
A lot of kids don't have good family situations. It's tough to see what some of these kids go through. The biggest thing is the reading and writing levels. You know, a lot of kids haven't had the opportunity to be able to buy the books for class. A lot of the kids don't have a learning environment at home. It's not easy being a student athlete. But after a while, they embrace that because we show them a lot of love.
And all of the love Featherstone shows his players isn't lost on them. As a father figure to many, Feathers players know they can come to him with anything.
He's really taught me how to be a man. I've grown up in a single parent with my mother. He's taught me some things that, just I needed to know growing up.
Integrity, how to be a person before you really put your all into just football.
How to be a professional about what I do. Being on time, being detailed, being dedicated to what I do, not missing a day in the weight room, not missing a day of running, taking the preparation of practice serious like it's a game. That's what I'm going to carry with me the rest of my life, because that's going to be the most important thing, whether I still play football or I go into the professional world, is preparation, attention to detail, and work ethic.
We're in the helping profession, Gene and I, and so are JC coaches. All coaches are, really, regardless of the level. Even if you're coaching Pop Warner, you want to get into life lessons with those, with even the little ones. That's the neat thing, to see them come back in suits and ties. You know, they've got a couple kids. They're great fathers, great husbands. Gene and I just look at each other and go, God, thank God, boy, what a wonderful change a lot of these kids have made.
Between everything he has accomplished on the field for El Camino and all the time he puts into maturing and teaching his players off the field, Featherstone's job keeps him constantly busy. However, he loves what he does and claims he's never worked a day in his life.
I go to bed every night with a smile on my face, and I wake up every morning with a smile on my face, because if I felt I've had a day, if I've had a good day, a job well done, and then I wake up the next morning getting a chance to do it again, to me, that's what life's all about. I've loved every moment of being a coach.
Coaches. Feather is definitely at the top of that list when you think of them in this town, making an impact on the lives of hundreds of young men and their families over the last 27 years. But of course, we know there's plenty of people doing that right here in Torrance. So for this next story, we're actually going to take a look back on a family whose philosophies have spread worldwide, teaching kids how to use the most important tool they're ever going to need.
The Gracie JiuJitsu Academy is one of the top training facilities for men, women, and children in the South Bay area. Henner Gracie is the co-owner of the academy in Torrance, and his family is responsible for bringing their style of jiu-jitsu to America.
Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is a self-defense system that was created by my grandfather in the early 1930s in Brazil. My grandfather was a very small man, tried to learn Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, couldn't do it because he was too weak, and the techniques relied too much on strength that he didn't possess. So my grandfather began modifying the techniques, incorporating leverage, better timing, energy efficiency, more patience, and those modifications gave birth to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And now we teach this stuff all over the world.
Henner and his brothers created the Gracie Bullyproof program for younger kids with hopes to prevent bullying in schools and communities.
The Gracie Bullyproof program is a very specialized program for children to learn the verbal, physical, and psychological tools to defend against bullies. We really focus a lot on the verbal assertiveness. We teach the kids how to stand strong, how to assert themselves verbally, and it's our firm belief that a confident child is a bully-proof child. So if the kid can just hold themselves more powerfully, walk strongly, and assert themselves verbally when confronted by a bully, the chances are they won't need to use their techniques.
3, 4, 5. Now what do you say to him? Do you promise to leave me alone forever? Yes, I give up. Please don't hurt me.
We're very proud to be here in Torrance. We've been in the South Bay now for, like I said, 25, 30 years in America. My family's been teaching here in the South Bay. And anyone who's in Torrance who, most people have heard of the Gracie Academy, but a lot of people are watching and don't really know much about what goes on in here. We can't emphasize enough how important it is for anyone who's ever thought about self-defense to take action.
So speaking of role models and the people we turn to teach our young athletes, nobody's in that spotlight more than the professional athlete. That's why we all love one who doesn't take for granted the impact they have on the generations behind them and doesn't mind sharing a story or two of when winning a Stanley Cup was just a childhood dream.
Join our beard-a-thon! Hello out there, we're on the air, it's hockey night tonight. Hello out there, we're on the air, it's hockey night tonight.
When first grade teacher Cheryl Rosenthal inspired her students at Victor Elementary to win a day with LA Kings mascot Bailey, the young hockey fans had no idea they were setting out to remind us one of the greatest lessons in sports. In a video contest with tons of competition, the odds were stacked against Miss Rosenthal's class.
When they didn't win the contest, we thought this is a great opportunity to teach the kids about what a real win is. It's not just winning that first place, that position, but it's about showing up and participating. So I made a call to Darrell, and they were in the playoffs, so it was a busy time, and he immediately jumped on board.
A chance to pass around a Stanley Cup championship ring and a few words of wisdom from an NHL great. Darrell Evans shared stories from his days in the NHL, shared his love of the game, and some sound advice on sticking with your passion.
The harder that you work, give it your best effort, and everything that you do in life, you're going to succeed regardless of what it is. You may not always win, but eventually you're going to get to where you want to get to, and that's kind of the approach that I've taken through life. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, youngster just like yourselves, hadn't even started playing hockey yet, and all of a sudden it became a dream to become a member of the National Hockey League.
I like how I explain to them how you don't need money to be happy. He's doing something in his life, his career's over, and now he's still involved in hockey and doing charity work, and to him that is more money than anything.
You know what? You know what makes somebody rich is when they find something that they like to do, because I work pretty much every day and I feel like I've never worked a day in my life because I found something that I love to do. So I'm rich because I have good friends, I'm healthy, and I love what I do. So that makes me rich. That makes me a billionaire. How's that?
They didn't get their party with Bailey, and these children may be too young to know much of the Miracle on Manchester. But it's never too early, and we'll never be too old for a reminder there's always more than one way to win. That was definitely a fun day and one heck of a way to kick off our summer. But Darrell Evans isn't the only professional athlete or ex-professional athlete you're likely to run into around town these days. The road from wide-eyed kid to grizzled pro, definitely a long path. And as you're about to learn from this next athlete, his particular path drove his parents crazy. But throw in a trip to the White House, a shout out from the president, and maybe even a championship ring or two, and well, it was all worth it.
So the big names came through in the clutch, but they didn't do it alone. For a group with so much firepower, this team shone on defense, recording 17 shutouts. They were led by two local guys, Omar Gonzalez, give it up, and AJ De La Garza. who won a national championship at Maryland. Now they've got another title to their resumes.
As one could imagine, becoming a professional soccer player doesn't just happen overnight. At a young age, De La Garza was already in love with the sport and treated it like a profession.
It was something I did every single day. I would be at my house by myself kicking the soccer ball against the wall, probably hitting windows. My mom would get upset at me, but it got me to where I am today. I just had a passion for defending and not letting other people score. It was just something I loved doing. I was quick in the back, so I read the game well so I can break up plays. Finishing was not my forte, so I stayed away from that side.
As he found his place in the soccer field, a young De La Garza decided on a career well before most kids do.
When I was little, my parents would always have to buy me cleats and shin guards. I would always write them a note and say, "I'd pay you back when I make it professionally." And it's crazy to think about that now I am professional. I'm going to my 5th year now. But it's something I wanted to do. Watching DC United play, when my favorite player was like Marco Echeverri, watching those guys play, it was something. When I found out you could do that as a career, I wanted to do that.
Going pro wasn't always a sure thing for De La Garza, though. Even after a very successful college career, he was unsure about his future in soccer.
Man, I didn't really know I would even make it. They were saying I was too small to play center back in this league. They projected me as a right back. I got invited to the MLS Combine. I thought I performed very well there, which was my stock rose a lot, and that's when I kind of knew I'd probably be drafted to go somewhere even for a tryout. I got drafted with the 19th pick here. It was so surreal. Our first day when we came in and we saw David, we just kind of looked at each other and were like, it was just crazy to be in the same locker room with them. Some people you see play in the World Cups, you know, David hitting free kicks for Man United, Real Madrid, all those different teams. Landon, you know, one of the biggest U.S. soccer names in history. Our coach Bruce Arena, the biggest U.S. coach in soccer history. So it was so surreal, and at the same time you want to make an impression for yourself.
And make an impression he did.
Ended up having the match. Shelby Joseph, and saved on the back line and cleared. De La Garza may have just saved the points, but they're not on yet.
Despite all his professional success, though, this Galaxy star's career has had its downsides as well, especially as he was sidelined with an injury late last season and missed all of playoffs.
I was just like a cheerleader, kind of, you know, pushing him on, trying to help Tommy, who was in my position as a rookie, and, you know, playing in the MLS Finals, just trying to keep him focused.
Even though it was tough watching from the sidelines, at the end of the day, De La Garza knows what he did for his team, and he can't wait for more seasons to come.
It's frustrating, you know, but when you win, everything feels so much better. Obviously, I wish I could have been out there with the guys in the last few games and whatnot, but they won the games, and I'm proud of that. I was definitely a big part of what we were able to do this year, and I can always look back and be proud of that.
Check it out, old and new. As we're here saying goodbye to the current Murdoch Stadium, just on the other side of these walls, we've got the Warriors' brand new practice facility. And speaking of transitions, when the clock struck 2013, the talk of the town was all things Bishop. A Knights basketball squad gunning for a state championship, nationally ranked, and every single time we made it out to a game, you couldn't help but notice number 21 out hustling everybody. Lucky for us, in 2014, we get more of the same, as the man we call JB is part of the best backcourt in California, running circles around the competition. He's a senior now, but here, our Brittany Johnson sat down with an already battle-tested and experienced junior.
I control the tempo of the floor, play hard defense. When the clock's going down, I'm the one that with the ball and calming teammates down and just handling everything on the floor.
Justin Bibbins, or JB as he is known to many, is a junior point guard for the Bishop Montgomery men's varsity basketball team. Averaging just over 13 points, 5 assists, and 3 steals a game, Justin helped lead his team to the 4th round of the CIF state championships. Head coach Doug Mitchell says when the game is on the line, there's nothing else you can do than to trust your point guard. Come game time, Coach Mitchell knows that Justin will be able to read the defense and come up big when they need him in clutch situations.
It's going to be what the defense gives them. I mean, it might be a 3, it might be a 2, it might be It might be a pull-up jump shot, it might be a runner, it could be a pass inside, but that's on him. At that point, I don't have any control. It's about him.
As a young player, Justin relied a lot on his speed and explosiveness, but over the years, he has gotten a better understanding of how the tempo and the score of the game should be.
I used to just take everyone one-on-one and didn't have no sense of change of direction and speed. It was always one speed.
This year, the Knights broke a few school records. They beat their own record of most league wins in a row, most wins in a regular season, and being ranked number 2 was their highest national ranking.
We reached a lot of our goals. We didn't get the state championship we really badly wanted. But I think as time passes, we'll remember what a phenomenal team this was.
Not winning a CIF championship or a state, and it's my senior year, there's a sense of urgency to win something. So we came short, but I know that next year's team, I'm gonna have to push a lot harder for them to win.
He's maybe the most competitive kid I've ever coached in 24 years. I mean, he just loves to compete. He loves the game. The bigger the game, and he said earlier, I like big games. He plays better in big games. The more pressure, the better he plays. So he just loves to compete.
Growing up, Justin may have looked up to players like Chris Paul, but his biggest competition was his older brother, Brandon. And as you can see, the one-on-one battles never end.
For this next story, we're going to jump back to just week 3 of the football season when our hearts all sank just a little, hearing that one of Torrance's best was down for his senior season not even a month in. But as we learned right away, sometimes the biggest challenges for one can bring an entire football team together. They can bring out the best in our biggest rivals, or they can make us fight just a little harder.
So I was lined up in slot to the right at tight end, not down. I was standing up, and I ran like a 2-yard drag, and I caught it right over the field. It was beautiful because the linebackers blitz and everything, so I was wide open, and Zach dumped it off to me, and I turned upfield right away, and I saw the 2 safeties closing in on me. I broke the tackle on the left, the guy on the right hung on to my right foot, and I got hit up high, and then I twisted, and I felt the break immediately. It was right at the time he told me, like 10, 15 teammates, best friends, just walk around the corner, and I just lost it. I started bawling. The fact that I wasn't going to be able to play my senior year. The next day, a friend, Jamie Stewart from El Segundo, who I knew through some workouts, he stopped by, he brought some stuff, and Maricosta's head coach, Don Morrow, and his son, Harrison Morrow, stopped by. And then Monday night, a friend from Redondo dropped by with a football that a bunch of the players had signed for me.
Anything, grab the football, so anything, is it just names, any messages?
Like get better, get back out there type stuff.
You know, these kids, they play ball together when they're growing up. They play Pop Warner together, or they play against each other. There's a respect factor that comes into play, and they know that at any moment something like that could happen to them. And I think it's just kind of like that brotherhood, you know, in the game of football. And I think in sport in general, if you're doing the right things, if you're teaching your kids the right things, they're teachable moments, and this is one of them. It shows that the game is important, but there's more to it.
Do It For 80 is the newest hashtag in Warrior football. West's all-time leading receiver still plans to earn a Division I scholarship, but even without a senior season highlight reel to impress college coaches, he's following through with the things that don't show up on film anyway.
He's just a caring, nice person. Like, doesn't do anything wrong, good grades, everything good. Like, it's just sad seeing something happen to a good person like that.
Brett, you did a great job tonight. Hey, I like the spin though, where you froze him and then, that was great. When I was in the ER, I was talking to Coach Holt, Coach Hans, and Coach Castillo, and Coach Holt's like, yeah, well, I guess you're coaching house again. And I was like, hey, I guess I'm gonna need one of those shirts, aren't I? I started cracking up. Coach Pitt, tell them when we have Dale lined up in slot against 85 to take advantage of it, because they're going man with 85 on Dale. I don't care what he runs, post, dig, whatever, but take advantage of that. I really want to work with some of the younger guys and even guys that are seniors right now to just hopefully give them what I would use on the field and try and see them use it instead.
Craig decides that he wants to be that kind of guy and be that next wide receiver coach for us, you know, during the season. And we'll get him some kind of shirt. I don't know if we'll put him in the program as coach now, but everybody knows that he's going to be one of our guys.
Bro, I got to sit down. You want to stay with me? Oh, you know what? Never mind. I forgot.
So we're out here at Murdoch Stadium celebrating all the things that made sports in 2013 so great right here in the South Bay. And what celebration of all things sports would be complete without the fan? Whether it's the parents who made sure you got out to every practice, came and watched you at every game, or what we're about to share with you here, where the rowdy fans can make the game day experience just as exciting as the game itself, or the 12-year-old who lives and dies for this team that plays on this very field right here. So Torrance, this next one is for you dedicated fans out there. What's up, everybody? Juan coming to you from the StubHub Center, home of the LA Galaxy, where the defending MLS champs have invited the entire city of Torrance out for Fan Appreciation Night. Now, the Galaxy have three main support groups here for home games: the Galaxians, the Angel City Brigade, and right behind me, the Riot Squad. They're loud, they're rowdy, and of course, they all like to have a grand old time. And if you ask any one of them, they're all going to tell you that they're the biggest fans that the Galaxy have. So, we're on a mission tonight. I'm rocking my David Beckham lid. I got my Herbalife Galaxy jersey on because we are about to find out what it takes to hang with the best of the best at the StubHub Center. Thanks, Cosmo. How you doing down here today? So-so? Here's the deal. We're running around the StubHub Center. We are on a mission today to find the LA Galaxy's #1 fan. I was going to ask you to unselfishly point to somebody or tell me where I can find the LA Galaxy's #1 fan. Who is it? So you guys are the Galaxians, as your buddies were saying back here, the premier Galaxy supporter squad, right?
We're the pretty much original supporter group since '96, way before anybody, ACB, Riot Squad. We're pretty much here with the Galaxy. Lows, we win, we lose, tie, we're always here for the Galaxy. Why don't you want to be a Galaxian is the question.
Who wouldn't want to be a Galaxian?
Why wouldn't you want to be?
When you're hanging out in the middle of the Riot Squad, what are the main rules that somebody has to follow in order to hang with the crowd out here?
Always cheer, never sit down, and always be loud.
This literally goes on for 90 minutes?
Yes, it does. 90 minutes. 94 minutes till the whistle blows.
If you stop cheering, does anybody kick you out of the Riot Squad?
No, they just yell at you.
I'd rather live nowhere else in this world. I'm living by the beach and playing for one of the greatest teams in MLS history, so you get the best of both worlds.
We've got it made in the South Bay, don't we?
It's not too bad.
What do you think? Successful night tonight? You helped me find the Galaxy's #1 fan? Did you have a good time? Time for the playoffs? We ready to go? There it is. Cosmo's excited. I'm excited. We had a good time tonight.
At every Elko football game and practice, you'll notice a player who's a little bit smaller, a lot younger, and refuses to put on pads and a helmet. Now, if you take a closer look, you'll realize that he's not a player, but he's still just as much a part of the team. Like most 12-year-old boys, Ben Byers loves playing football.
I'm going to be an athlete when I grow up as an adult. I like to bully the dummies, kick field goals, and throw 25 yards to the quarterbacks.
But there's one thing that he doesn't love about the sport.
The reason why I don't want to play football is because I am not into the contact. If you play as a receiver, you're going to get hit hard. It's painful. I ain't going to lose a piece of my ear what Matt Schaub did last year. Or dislocate a knee or injure your throwing hand.
So instead of playing the game, Ben gets his football fix by going to work with his father, El Camino College's coach, Scott Byers. Ask Ben about his dad's coaching career, and he probably remembers it better than Coach Byers himself.
My dad was coaching at University High School. We went 10-0 that was a year. And then my dad moved to St. Bernard's. St. Bernard's went 10-0, but lost to South High. They scored 50. We scored like 48, 49. And then he moved to El Camino for 1 year, and the quarterback was Jesse Strongest. He ain't that good. It was a tough year. This year been real good. And
even if Ben isn't suiting up, there's no denying his passion for the game is there. To him, a loss hurts just as much as it does to the team, especially at Bakersfield.
I hate that cannon. 8 times I had to hear it. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, that kid's gonna be the death of me.
And as the Warriors' dedicated head ball boy, Ben already has people working under him at age 12. Now that Ben's part of the team, he's even set long-term goals.
For the record, before I go to college, I want to make sure El Camino's the state champions.
While you may never see Ben Byers out in the football field making a tackle, just know football will always be a part of his life. For the Sports Desk, I'm Jenny Phillips.
You know, my favorite sport really isn't so much a sport as it is a lifestyle. So when the Sports Desk got invited out to Surfing for a Cure with the Everlasting Smiles Foundation and a professional surfer who had caught his first wave right here in Torrance Beach, we all had a chance to see one of the most heroic stories you're ever going to find. Maybe you'll remember this one. Check it out.
Obsession, religion, lifestyle, hobby, call it what you will, almost every surfer has a different word to describe their devotion to riding waves. And while hordes of South Bay surfers came out to fight against cancer at the Surfing for a Cure relay in Torrance Beach this summer, it was one man's self-described sickness that became downright inspirational.
To get back out there on a wave, you're back in the zone, you know, you're just in your element. You know, your concentration is focused on what you're doing, you know, down the line. Just you forget about all the bad stuff in life. You're just back on cloud 9.
What would it take to tear an athlete away from their deepest passion? In Nathan's case, that's just not possible. After a surfing accident in Hermosa Beach left Goki paralyzed from the chest down in 2008, rather than turning his back on the ocean, it remained his muse.
I mean, the first day of my injury, I was skeptical about getting back in the water. I didn't think I'd be able to do anything ever again. I thought I'd be stuck in bed the rest of my life. Brendan, you know, came in with a postcard thing of Jesse Billauer on a wave, and it just sparked again in my head. It's kind of weird how anything can happen in life.
And while the day's event was about the sport of kings supporting a good cause and an opportunity for those of good health to surf in gratitude, the mission for Nate's wave stole the show. With a pack of helpers, each with assignments and their own positions in the water, catching a wave is no longer a simple task for Goki. It's a team effort. But the importance of each ride, never more obvious.
He was stoked to get a couple rides, and you know, the lifeguards were a little apprehensive, like, whoa, maybe not, no more. So we got him in a couple waves, and you know, that's all that matters. He had a good time. I mean, he wanted to stay out longer. I feel like they always want to stay out longer, or they always want to get a bigger one. So it's pretty classic.
I need 100% assistance. Pretty much what I do myself is just lean left, right, you know, once I'm finally in a wave, you know, and that's up to my friends, you know, they come through, you know, they really know what they're doing.
It's really inspirational, like you were saying, but it's also really makes me appreciate like what I have, or, you know, for being healthy and happy and all that stuff. Definitely makes you appreciate life.
Goki is now an active supporter of countless surf-related charities, so while even the most tragic of accidents can slow every athlete down, sometimes it's best to remember the motivation to get back out there is usually pretty simple.
I mean, it's just what I want to do. I mean, I just like to get out there and surf. It's just kind of a sickness, I guess.
Well, that's another year. It was definitely a good one. It was my first full calendar year as your host, so thank you, Torrance, for sharing anything and everything sports in what I like to call our little corner of the South Bay. We're finally saying goodbye to 2013, just like we're saying goodbye to Murdoch Stadium over here. We got to celebrate all of you, the athletes, the people that give this town as much character as this old stadium. I have a feeling that 2014 is going to be a pretty good one too. So Happy New Year, Torrance.